Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your Social Media Compass. My name is Jacqueline Baker, and I'm your host, and I'm here with my great friend, Luke Redhead, if you want to say hi.
Hi, hello.
Yeah, I'm so excited you're here. I think this conversation is going to be super insightful.
Me too, yes. Thank you for having me. No, I'm looking forward to this.
Of course, yeah. So please tell everyone who you are, what do you do, all the good stuff.
Cool, yes. So I'm Luke Redhead. I help people, essentially I help them build an online business. I'm very focused on the personal branding world. I like the way that you can attract people through authenticity. I think that's very, very powerful. And the reason I'm helping people with the business side is I'm very passionate about ultimately about living life and, being happy. Whatever that looks like. I know for a lot of people that's getting a 9-to-5 job. It's working in a career that they love, and I absolutely support that. But I know for a lot of other people that it's more about that freedom to be able to work when and where they want, to be able to earn more money, to get more clients on board so that they can support their family in different ways, things like that. So I've gone down the route of helping people to build the business that's more lifestyle first than anything, and do it by getting clients that they can help by using their skills and making a real impact in the world. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, it's interesting. What first caught my eye when I found you on LinkedIn was actually your banner. So it says, imagine you can gain new clients by working just 3 to 4 hours a day. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And it's, one of the things I found, and it's all from experience, this is, my first 2 years of business, I really struggled, just because I was new, didn't really know what I was doing. And I was kind of peddling a lot of advice that I'd had over the years, advice that maybe didn't align with what I was doing. But I had this mentality, I just had to be doing so much work and so many different things to make it happen. And realistically, all that matters is, as long as you're doing the stuff that gets the results, then that's all you need to be doing. Anything else after that is an extra. So, for me, when I started out, I spent, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks building my first draft of a website that ended up not really being used ever. And I didn't need to do that. All these are the things I was doing and I didn't need to be doing. Realistically, all it is, as long as you're attracting the right kind of people and starting conversations with them, and as long as they're the people that you can help, then there's no reason why that can't take 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yeah, like how do you do that? How do you start conversations?
Yeah, this is why I'm a big fan of the content side. It allows you to talk to a lot of people en masse, essentially, but without being non-personal. So, I can create a post and I can share a bit of a personal story. I can talk a bit about my journey. I can talk about how, those 2 years, some of the mistakes I'd made or things I'd do differently. And that can align with people that are in a similar position or seeing or experiencing or feeling a similar thing, that they can then start to trust if the stuff I'm saying is the journey I've been on and the way I can help them. So then when I get to an actual conversation with them, whether that's, doing like a retreat or a workshop or inviting them or even just sending them a message and saying, hey, thanks for the support. There's already a level of trust, a level of intimacy there that's not completely cold outreach. It's not uncomfortable. It's, they've seen a bit about me. I've seen, from them a sign that they're interested in maybe talking or something. And then it's a very, very natural conversation. It's just, hey, thanks for the support. No worries, loved your post. It's like catching up with a friend almost. And it's very, very nice to then be able to go, how's the journey? Where do you want to be? What is it you're working on? And then if there is an opportunity to help them, and there's, often there is, because your content's kind of geared up around this, their thinking anyway. It's very, very natural to say, would you be open to maybe get some help with that? Is that something you'd be interested in talking through? And then you're looking about working with them without ever, without that awkward salesy feeling that I think a lot of people shy away from now.
I know. I feel you 100%.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I'm going to be talking about this on a separate session soon. But about this whole, people feeling salesy is, or this kind of aversion to being salesy, when really 90% of us are just building a business because we want to help people. And we kind of almost put ourselves back from helping people because, I don't want to come across salesy, I don't want to bother them, or I don't want them to take it the wrong way or something. It's just helping, hey, I see you're trying to do this. I'd love to help you get there. I've done it myself. I've helped other people. Would you be interested in hearing how it works?
Yeah, 100%. What social media platform do you feel helps you the most?
LinkedIn is my bread and butter. Yeah, it's I've been there 3 years now. It's just, without getting into all the algorithms and things, the people on there are just fantastic. It's a very unique platform in the way that it attracts people and the way people talk and communicate. But it's such a good platform for meeting people and talking, and just, even if you just build a bit of like a community of friends to support you and things. Honestly, some of the support I've had just on posts and things like that, it's unbelievable how nice the majority of people are on there.
I see that. Do you get a lot of leads through LinkedIn, would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, majority of my business leads are through LinkedIn now, definitely.
That's amazing. Do people just reach out and say, hey, I like what you're doing. How could you help me? Or is it more of like a process?
Bit of both, but yeah, there's definitely, you do get people reach out and they say, I'm interested in this or that. But I think if you've got the right content strategy in place, you can build an audience talking about, your journey and things that matter to you, all of that good stuff. You can build a bit of an audience there. And then what I like to do is, like lead magnets and things, not in the kind of an awkward, give me your email sort of way, but I've built, this is something I've been working on in the past. If you want to see behind the scenes, or if you want to see this, or, or even just like, if you're interested in this, let me know, sort of thing. But it's quite good at helping you to find people who are in your audience. They are seeing your stuff. They're maybe not confident enough to reach out at that moment in time, but if they see that next step, it often leads them into it. So yeah, that's one of the ways. And then it's just, I think it's something I call them hand raisers. Anybody who shows a signal of potentially needing help with something. So if they are, in your comments and they say, I'm working on this at the minute, this is really helpful, thanks for sharing. If they view your profile, if they do something like that, that's sometimes just enough of a sign to reach out and just say, hey, thanks so much for reaching out or for viewing my profile. Interested to hear more about what you're working on, and potentially there might be a way that I could help you with this. So yeah, definitely LinkedIn is one of the best places I've found for me over the years for leads, definitely.
Oh, I'm so glad, because I always tell my clients, there's always going to be one or two platforms that really, really help. And then the other ones just may not be for you. And that's okay.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not, at this moment in time, I'm not the biggest fan personally of video. I'm no good at it. So doing like reels and TikToks and things, I'd be rubbish at them. And that's totally fine. I completely accept that, because there's other platforms out there that are better aligned for me. And that's where, similar-minded people are as well. So yeah, it works out quite well.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And also platforms change so often. So what works for you today may not necessarily work for you next year.
100%. And it's a very interesting point. I see a lot of people who, they try and crack the algorithms, if I do this kind of post or this or that, and, you give it 6 weeks, sometimes not even 6 months, and it's changed, and things that work don't work, and things that don't work do work. And it's, I always say it to my clients, focus your content on the people who are reading it, because human psychology doesn't change overnight. They still have the same wants, they still have the same, things that they want to achieve, the same end goal, the same experiences, the same pain points, all of that stuff that, that we think about when we think about our ICP, none of that changes overnight. So as long as your content is addressing that and it's focused on that, you might get a post that does really well. The next day it might not do so well. At the minute, my LinkedIn posts are performing a bit lower than normal. And I haven't changed anything in the content strategy. The algorithm's changed. But it's still sharing the same message. And I can share that message on any platform as long as I'm comfortable with doing that. Rather than, what's the LinkedIn algorithm want? And then I need to learn the Instagram algorithm. I've got a message and I'm going to share it. And these are the people I want to share it with. That's the core of the content strategy.
Yeah. And like, it's so interesting because let's just say your posts are down 10% in regards to reach and impressions. People who follow you don't know that.
No. And this is it. And somebody, a very good friend of mine said this to me a long time ago, and it stuck with me. But he was like, he'll try new things. He'll launch different things all the time. And he said, look, either it works and people see it, or it doesn't and people don't see it. And I was like, that's such a good way of looking at it, because you're absolutely right. People won't know if a post has done well or not. If a post hasn't done well, majority of people don't see it anyway.
No. Or even if they see how many likes and comments you get, like, they're not going to think to themselves, before Luke was getting 300 likes and now he's getting 200. Like, they would never even think about that.
No, not at all.
They're just looking at content.
That's it. Absolutely. The numbers they're good to look at in a sense of understanding kind of what works, what resonates, things like that. But they don't tell the big story at all.
And it's so easy to get caught up in numbers, like checking how many likes you have every morning and, feeling either proud or discouraged,
Yeah, 100%. And it's something I say to everyone I work with, numbers they're good to see. They're good to see what resonates, what's working and what's not, but never let them affect your mood or your emotion. And I say that both ways, not just if a post does bad, don't get upset over it. It's going to hurt. You are going to feel it. You're going to think, I put a lot of work into that and it's not paid off. But the same aside, you could do a post and it performed really well. Yes, you can kind of, if you understand content philosophies and you understand the platform to an extent, you can kind of understand what will work where and when. Not every time. There are always surprises. But the ultimate goal is the people reading it. The platforms and the algorithms are just in the middle. They're not the end goal. It's the people reading it and it's the connection you're building. And, actually having that connection is the ultimate thing. So, don't get disheartened or overjoyed depending on how a post performs, because ultimately that's not the end goal. It's reaching those people and building that connection with them.
Yeah. And also the amount of followers you have the amount of followers you have doesn't mean you have that many customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spoken to some people in the industry over the years. I've met a lot of good people, and there's one person who springs to mind, and they were saying they've got a lot of, I think it was more than a fluke, we'll say, a good number of people here that they'd worked with, and all of them had over 60,000 followers, and all of them were struggling to get clients.
Yeah.
Because it was, they knew what they were doing with the algorithms and the reach and the stuff, but they didn't know the business side. And that was, it's very, very interesting to see. And you're absolutely right. The numbers don't tell the whole picture at all.
Yeah, because I have some people in my life that I know that are doing so incredibly amazing client-wise. They have dozens and dozens and dozens of clients, but their social media presence is slim to none.
Yeah. I saw exactly the same thing the other day. Somebody who's, they're making good money. We're not talking millions, but we're talking comfortable, replace salary level money with 400 followers.
Yeah. And that's okay.
It's absolutely okay. Yeah. And that's it. That's where I think intentional content is key. Knowing when you write a post, what you want to get out of that post. So if that post is all about starting conversations with people, well, the reach doesn't really matter that much, because you want to start conversations with people. And if you want to do a post that reaches new people, then the conversations off the back of it are a nice bonus, but that's not really the end goal. So it's all about knowing where the efforts are going, what you actually want out of that post, and then writing for that reason, rather than just, what's working well, or what are other people doing? That comparison trap is deadly. So yeah, definitely avoid that.
Like, sometimes I look at my analytics and I'm so surprised by the posts that do better than others, just because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. I've had that too. There's been quite a few. I'm at a point now, as I've been doing this about 3 years, so I'm relatively clued up. I still get surprised now and then as well. Relatively clued up on what should work or what shouldn't. But then there's sometimes when it's just like, sweet, that's done well. All right. So yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you would give to anyone who wants to use LinkedIn to get clients?
The best piece of advice, I'll give you 3 because I can't think of one. The best piece, well, number 1 would be to start. As long as you can add value, as long as your content, adds value to the reader and builds trust or a connection or shows your expertise, as long as it's not just random post for the sake of posting and it adds value, start before you're perfect. I see it all the time. People, I'm not ready yet, or I don't know enough, or any. You don't. You don't. Start now. It's amazing how many people can relate to you in those early days. So absolutely start is the first thing. Second piece of advice would be, obviously, as we've kind of said, don't worry too much about the numbers. Learn from them, but don't rely on them as such. You can build a business by just reaching the right people and never getting a post go viral, in the same way that you can have lots of posts go viral and not build a business. So, obviously be intentional and don't worry too much about the numbers there. And the last one, I would say, a big one for me, is authenticity. People, we all know the phrase, people buy from people. So when you've got and there's a lot of people on social media now, LinkedIn as well, and there's a lot of people sharing similar things or with a kind of similar business, when you just look at it at face value. But people can buy into you and your story and your personality and who you are because of who you are. So, a lot of the people that I work with, one of my latest clients, in fact, when we first started working together, they said that the reason that I stood out to them was I share a lot of pictures of me out and about in nature. And it's just because I like that. I don't like being too posy. I'd rather show a bit behind the scenes of my life, of what I'm doing, places that I'm at and stuff like that. Because for me, business is about freedom. So I kind of like to show that side of it as well. And they said that was the thing that caught them. They want more freedom. They want to have that in their life as well. And they want to build a business so that they can live that life. It's not just about the money for them. It's that they want to be able to do that. So that was just me showing a couple of pictures of me out and about in nature that separated me and made them, trust me and go in that direction rather than somewhere else. So, absolutely, authenticity would be my third big bit of advice there.
Fantastic. Do you have any advice, wise words of wisdom, anything you want to share before we wrap up?
Absolutely. I would say don't measure success against others. One of my big things is to I do it with all my clients when we first start working together. We sit down and we go, in 5-10 years time, what actually is success for you? Like, what does that look like? What does a day look like? What's the life that you want to be living? The money that you want to be earning. It's very easy to get sucked into what other people say success is. They say, I'm traveling the world all the time and I work when I want to. And then there's other people that are, I've got my bank account looks like a phone number or whatever. And they sell you on the kind of vision of their success or what success looks like to them. So I was just saying, find what that success looks like for you, first and foremost, and then just go in that direction and just try not to get distracted along the way. yes, get inspiration. Yes, learn from others. Yes, it'll evolve. You might go, actually, do you know what? Where I was going isn't for me anymore because I've changed as a person. I've evolved. I'm, a new me. But as long as it's aligned for where you want to go, that's all that really matters. There's no magic bank account number that means you've made it or success or anything. We get one life. As long as you're happy and doing things that you want to do, and it's the life that you want to be living, and it's fulfilling for you, and as long as you're doing good in the world as well, I believe, then that is success in itself. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I could not agree with you more. Where could people get in touch with you? How could people find you?
I would say LinkedIn's probably the best place. Just search Luke Redhead, you'll find me. I'm on there. But yeah, just so there. If you do connect with me, come and say hi because I'm friendly. Well, I love meeting people. So yeah, I'd say LinkedIn's definitely, reach out to me there.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. No, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yes. So everyone, all of Luke's info will be in the show notes. So please connect with him. His content is amazing. You will not be disappointed. And until next time, I'll see you all in the next episode. Thanks to everyone for listening. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.